Warning, you are about to enter a free-thinking, innovative, open-minded
Hey
environment.
guys, this is Tommy,
Be
Tommy Nation
advised,
Politics.
this
How's everyone
is
doing
the
today?
Tommy Nation Politics Tuesday
Are you someone who
live
doesn't
stream.
bend to the will of the conventional wisdom? Someone who rebels, who questions authority, who doesn't just watch the mainstream media and go along with all the bandwagon mentality? If so, this is Tommy Nation Politics Podcast, and we're a free-thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, new, independent, progressive media. You can find us at www.tommynationpolitics.com. And here at the Tommy Nation Politics Podcast, we dissect the stories shaping our society today. We're diving into a case that's making waves across the nation.
North Texas father is talking about the pain of suddenly losing his son. His son was stabbed at a school track meet in Frisco. Police have made an arrest.
And Fox 4's Sean Rabb in studio now with more.
Track meet tragedy in Frisco this morning. A 16-year-old is dead. A 17-year-old is charged with murder. Crime scene tape from Sky 4 shows cordoned off the area in the stands where the horrific student stabbing took place. 16-year-old Austin Metcalf, a student at Frisco Memorial, was killed. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, a student at Frisco Centennial, is in jail and charged with murder. Both were athletes at their respective schools. Sources say students, the victim's brother among them, watched in disbelief, and that his brother did all he could to try and save his twin's life. Track meet tragedy will certainly change security protocols in the future. Not just those attending athletic events, but those participating will face closer security scrutiny.
It's the tragic incident involving Karmelo Anthony. No, not the basketball player. It's Karmelo with a K. Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. This case has sparked conversations about youth violence, self-defense, laws, and the justice system, since he's being tried as an adult at 17. But let's break it down, my friends. Well, it all started on April 2nd, 2025, at Kuykendall Stadium? Kuykendall Stadium in Frisco, Texas, about 20 minutes away from me here in Dallas. A track meet turned into a scene of tragedy, let's just say. Karmelo Anthony, a young athlete, was arrested at the scene for fatally stabbing his 17-year-old colleague, friend, bully, who knows, Austin Metcalf. Two 17-year-olds were fighting, and a knife was being used for self-defense. That's
when
what
this guy was just sitting in the wrong spot and they asked him to move.
And so we bring in the Frisco Police Department, guys. Initially brought charges. Yes, guys. I know that usually district attorneys are the ones who bring charges in a grand jury to indict someone of criminal charges. But for some reason, guys, whether because he be an African American or whatnot, special circumstances dictate that perhaps the district attorney might not bring criminal charges, but the police department of Frisco initially brings criminal charges, guys. I've never seen this before. I've never seen a police department bring first-degree murder charges on a 17-year-old and charge him as an adult. Can you believe it, guys? Can you believe that? First time for everything, I guess. But I mean, I had to look up on, of course, ChatGPT just to see. I asked, aren't criminal charges usually brought by attorneys? It responded to me, you're absolutely right. Criminal charges, like murder, are typically brought forward by a prosecutor, usually part of the district attorney's office. The police, in this case, Frisco Police Department, conducted the investigation and made an arrest based on probable cause. Probable cause, Well, it sounds like broken window policing. Probable cause, what could that be? Perhaps the stabbing? I don't know. Afterward, the case is handed over to the prosecutor, who reviews the evidence and formally files charges. This distinction is key in the legal process. So he hasn't been indicted by a grand jury at this moment, as I know of. But I'd like to delve deeper into how criminal cases are handled in court, explore more specific legal topics that are relevant to this case, because that seems like an interesting precedent. When a police department files criminal charges and not a district attorney, not someone who's well versed in the law. Because I believe, guys, that when it comes to being a prosecutor, defense attorney, or judge, you have to showcase versatility in the criminal justice system. You have to be distinguished in your career and the legal field. Can't just throw blind justice in the faces of pigs. Pearls before swine, guys. Pearls before swine. That's my opinion. But also something of my opinion is this whole entire police case, this stabbing case, this Frisco High School track meet case. It brought back some nostalgic memories of something that I not quite remembered. Whereas year and before, when a teenager accused of fatally stabbing another teenager at a track meet in Frisco was protecting yourself or standing your ground. Do you guys remember a certain stand your ground defense? Let's see if you guys harken back to me. Let's see if you can harken back to the memories of 13.
A newly released report is casting Martin as the aggressor in the case. 4 News Corner's Gabrielle Serran explains how it differs from witness accounts. Gabrielle?
Patrick, Martin was shot and killed by neighborhood watchman George Zimmerman last month. The shooting death sparking national outrage. Now a new report from the Orlando Sentinel is giving details into what Zimmerman says happened. The newspaper says, according to police reports, Zimmerman says Martin got into a verbal argument and that the teen then punched him in the nose and also banged his head on the ground. Zimmerman says that's when he started crying for help dealing with the teen. The Sanford Police Department says the account is consistent with evidence that they turned over to prosecutors. Zimmerman has always contended that he shot the teen in self-defense. The shooting has focused attention on the Florida Stand Your Ground law. Now, the state senator who sponsored the law says it's being misused.
In the case of Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman.
The newspaper says, according to police reports, Zimmerman says Martin got into a verbal argument and that the teen then punched him in the nose and also banged his head on the ground.
Ooh.
Zimmerman says that's when he started crying for help dealing with the teen. The Sanford Police Department says the account is consistent with evidence that they turned over to prosecutors. Zimmerman has always contended that he shot the
Wait, they turned it over to prosecutors to charge in criminal charges in this case? Well, that's interesting. It seems as if this case of teen violence was solved by police department turning over criminal charges in that jurisdiction of lawfare to the attorneys. Seems very interesting. Seems to be a cut and dry routine handoff of the chain of command. When the police department, handles off to the district attorney to file criminal charges based on the evidence in the grand jury indictment. That seems to be how justice is formed. Seems to be one of the processes. To me, this precedent of the Frisco Police Department filing criminal charges seems to upset the whole entire balance of blind justice. But could this be on purpose in Texas as an African American stands his ground? Wow. I think you guys unfortunately know my biased opinion based on the report that I've read, the affidavit that I've seen, and the police report that I've looked at. But let me prove my case to you, my friends.
Here in North Texas today, the parents of Karmelo Anthony spoke publicly for the first time since their son's arrest. Anthony charged in the stabbing death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet in Frisco. He was detained after the stabbing, but he was released from jail on Monday after his $1 million bond was reduced.
But let's get back to George Zimmerman first.
Self-defense. The shooting has focused attention on the Florida Stand Your Ground law. Now, the state senator who sponsored the law says it's being misused.
There's no issue about confrontation in the street or in a bar or anyplace else. Those issues are not addressed or were not intended to be addressed in this law. Under my law, you could shoot someone at the threshold or inside of your house. You could not shoot someone turning around and jumping off the bridge, running away.
A grand jury is scheduled to meet on April 10th to decide if Zimmerman will be charged. We'll keep you updated. Gabrielle Saran, Fox 4.
Oh, Fox 4, keep us updated on that case.
Anthony is now on strict house arrest. Today we heard from his mother.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you.
Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, made an appearance at the conference. Police then escorted him out of the building.
Meanwhile, let's go back to Karmelo Anthony's case and let's read from Fox 5 NBC DFW. As far as they are aware of, these are the facts, guys. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. Fox 5 by Maria Guerrero, published April 3rd, 2025. And let's just get a feel of her. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. Let's read the facts. Maria Guerrero, Fox 5. The teenager accused of fatally stabbing another teenager at a track meet in Frisco on Wednesday told police he did it and that he was protecting himself. NBC5 obtained an arrest warrant affidavit on Thursday that shared new details about what took place in the moments leading up to the stabbing and the statements that were made afterwards by 17-year-old suspect Karmelo Anthony. No, not the basketball player, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony. The attack killed 17-year-old student athlete Austin Metcalf of Frisco, Texas. Jeff Metcalf, the victim's father, told NBC5 on Wednesday that his son was stabbed in the heart and died in his twin brother's arms. Oh, dear. An arrest warrant detailed the moment officers arrived at the track meeting and that there were witnesses, said what happened leading up to the deadly confrontation was, according to them, there was some hubbub about a bag, and Metcalf proceeded to take the bag, his property, the property of Karmelo Anthony. And Karmelo Anthony said, please, do not take my property. Please get your hands off of my property and myself. He said, I refuse to take my hands off my property and myself, proceeded to take and violate the bag and the property. I know you conservatives love the word property a lot. I don't know why, for some reason. But the property was being violated, guys. The property. Doesn't that get y'all up in arms? The property was being violated. Forget he's a black person. Just think about the property for a second. It was being violated, guys. And so was his autonomy. So, in self-defense, the stabbing happened, guys. Quote, in the minutes before the stabbing, Anthony was sitting under another team's pop-up tent as rain fell. When he was told to move, according to the arrest report. Move! Said Austin Metcalf. The two students from different high schools then began fighting. A witness told police that Anthony had unzipped his bag. Anthony unzipped his bag, reached in, and then told Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. Well, a short time later, the report said Austin grabbed Anthony. Austin grabbed Anthony, accosted Anthony, the one violating Anthony's property, then grabbed Anthony to tell him to move. And Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest. Well, the report said a school resource officer from nearby Staley Middle School was first on the scene at Kuykendall Stadium. It said that Anthony told the officer, I was protecting myself, quote, he put his hands on me. True, Karmelo, but you're a Negro, so does it matter? But Anthony reportedly asked an officer on the scene if what happened could be considered self-defense and asked if the victim was going to be okay. Oh, showing remorse for the criminal that was accosting and violating the property of an individual. Oh, wow. Showing empathy of someone who violently violated his autonomy and accosted his property. It's pretty high-minded of you, Karmelo. Hand claps for you, Karmelo.
Tonight we have new information from the deadly stabbing at a high school track meet.
Since 5 o'clock, Frisco Police released the arrest report that details the moment officers arrived at the scene. The arresting officer writes when he reported he had an alleged suspect. The officer said Karmelo Anthony said he did it. According to the arrest report, the tragic event began with the suspect sitting under another team's tent as rain fell and being told to move. A witness told police Anthony immediately opened his bag and reached in, telling the victim, "Touch me and see what happens." When the victim pushed him, witnesses say Anthony pulled a knife from the bag and stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest. The murder suspect reportedly asked police on the scene if what happened could be considered self-defense, and asking if the victim was going to be okay. Maria Guerrero takes a closer look at the case and the grief in Collin County.
Facing 5 to 99 years in prison if convicted, Karmelo Anthony no longer appearing as emotional as he did after being arrested in the stabbing death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
They were twins, identical twins, and his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding, and he died in his brother's arms.
The horrifying scene playing out Wednesday morning during a district track meet with over 100 student athletes participating.
So Karmelo Anthony proceeded to stand his ground, as the Castle Doctrine says, which is a law in Texas and in Florida talking about self-defense statewide. Anthony's charged with the murder in Collin County and had a $1 million bond. If convicted of murder, he faces up to 5 to 99 years in prison because they plan on trying him as an adult. It's one of those little filings that they did that they got from the 1994 crime bill, which gives them permission to charge minors, mostly brown minors, as an adult so they could get the maximum penalty. So Anthony appeared less emotional in the mugshot released Thursday by Collin County Sheriff. But the mugshot taken on Wednesday says it all. It says, to me anyway, self-defense, guys. And I have to harken back to just that wonderful, wonderful time in my life where I came to know, guys, about stand your ground. I came to know about how standing your ground was part of the law of the land. And I think, guys, that we should listen once more to the story of
Now, a new report from the Orlando Sentinel is giving details into what Zimmerman says happened. The newspaper says, according to police reports, Zimmerman says Martin got into a verbal argument and that the team then punched him in the nose and also banged his head on the ground. Zimmerman says that's when he started crying for help dealing with the team. The Sanford Police Department says the account is consistent with evidence that they turned over to prosecutors. Zimmerman has always contended that he shot the team in self-defense. The shooting has focused attention on the Florida Stand Your Ground law. Now, the state senator who sponsored the law says it's being misused. The Sanford Police Department says the account is consistent with evidence that they turned over to prosecutors. Zimmerman has always contended that he shot the team in self-defense. The shooting has focused attention on the Florida Stand Your Ground law. Now, the state senator who sponsored the law says it's being misused.
Well, is it being misused now? Is it being misused now? That's my question. My first question is it being misused now? Because in Texas, stand your ground laws are primarily governed by the Texas Penal Code. Here are some key references for you. Texas Penal Code, section 9.31. This section outlines the general principles of self-defense, stating that a person is justified in using force against another when they are reasonably believed to be in peril. They could protect themselves with deadly force if necessary. Texas Penal Code section 9.31. Texas Penal Code section 9.32. This section specifies the conditions under which deadly force is justified, including the absence of a duty to retreat if the individual is in a place where they have the legal right to be. Number 3, the Castle Doctrine, while not a separate law, is embedded within the Texas self-defense laws and the Florida laws, and it expands the right to use force in self-defense to one's home, vehicle, workplace, or bodily autonomy. These are laws applied statewide, including the jurisdiction of Frisco, Texas, where the police department of Frisco took it upon themselves to criminally charge, without a district attorney, a charge of first-degree murder. Now, let's go back to the George Zimmerman case real quick, guys, because this is an interesting thing. George Zimmerman was charged with second-degree murder in the shooting death of Trayvon Martin. in February 26, 2012. The case went to trial. Deliberating over 16 hours, the jury found Zimmerman not guilty on July 13th, 2013. Not guilty. The claim of self-defense under Florida's laws and the controversial stand your ground provision, it obtained and secured a verdict of not guilty for George Zimmerman. The case of Karmelo Anthony and Trayvon Martin, they share striking parallels, don't they? Both in their societal impacts and the questions they raise about justice, race, and violence in America. While the circumstances differ, Anthony's case involves a fatal stabbing, while George Zimmerman's is a gunshot. Martin's death was the result of the shooting of George Zimmerman in self-defense, and the stabbing of Metcalf by the self-defense of Karmelo Anthony has now, by the Texas standards, not warranted a stand your ground verdict of not guilty at the moment, but has warranted a preemptive, before a grand jury indicted, first-degree murder charge brought on by the Frisco Police Department. The first time I've ever heard a police department ever bring criminal charges themselves. A district attorney, an attorney is supposed to bring criminal charges. I've never heard this precedent in my life where a police department brings criminal charges like this and trumped up to charge him as an adult. I don't understand what's going on, guys, but I can tell you this. I can tell you that justice has to be blind. Either stand your ground is the law of the land, or you guys just have to admit that African Americans can't use force to defend themselves against whites. Just admit it. Just admit that we are not equal under the law. Admit that we do not have the right to stand our ground, and that's why you don't want us to have guns, and that's why you trumped up charges of first-degree murder without a district attorney's approval. Just admit that you guys are racist. Admit that we don't have the same rights. We're not equal under the law. Just admit it, guys. We can all be done with it, guys. But as far as I'm concerned, if you want to continue the facade that us blacks are equal under the law, if you want to continue to draw out this protection and stand your ground provisions that are embedded within the state law of Florida and Texas, and guys, I have to tell you this. I have to tell you that I need to know exactly what the prosecuting attorney is going to do about this, because he alone is going to bring to the grand jury these charges. He alone is going to see what merits what fate beholds Karmelo Anthony in the Collin County. And the Collin County District Attorney is Greg Willis. Greg Willis is the Collin County District Attorney. He has a distinguished law career and legal field. He was a defense attorney, a prosecutor, and he's worked versatility all through the justice system. He was very honored by many associations, attorney and court alike. He was committed to protecting children, supporting victims of crime, and received accolades such as the Child Advocate of the Year award. He's a fifth-generation Texan, guys, and he's going to be in charge of the case. Guys, you can reach Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis at 2100 Bloomdale Road, Suite 100, McKinney, Texas, 75071. That's 2100 Bloomdale Road, Suite 100, McKinney, Texas, 75071. Greg Willis's phone number is 972-548-4323. That phone number for Greg Willis, the Collin County District Attorney, who is in charge of this case, his phone number is 972-548-4323. Maybe we should talk to him about stand your ground. Maybe we should talk to him about equality under the law. Maybe we should talk to him about justice and how blind it is, how it doesn't look at color or race, how we're equal under the law, how Texas stands its ground. I don't know, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be calling Mr. Greg Willis of Collin County. I'm going to be calling Greg Willis at the Collin County District Attorney's Office at 972-548-4323. I'll be calling him tomorrow, and I will be asking him questions like this. I'll be asking him how a police department can bring up criminal charges, first of all. That's amazing. I didn't even know. I guess only for niggers. I mean, I just want to make sure that every right winger is up in arms and enraged by the violation of bodily autonomy, by the treading of property done by Metcalf. And I know that you right wingers, just like the George Zimmerman verdict, you'll think that Metcalf got what was coming to him, violating and messing with the property of Karmelo Anthony, violating his autonomous space, treading on him, bullying him. Karmelo Anthony had no other choice but to stand his ground, did he not? He had no other choice but to defend his freedom, did he not? Did he not, right wingers? Did he not, Texans? Or did he? Does he not have that right? And why does he not have that right? These are the questions I'll be asking Mr. Willis tomorrow. These are the questions I'll be addressing at the Collin County District Attorney General's office at 2100 Bloomdale Road, Suite 100, McKinney, Texas, 75071. And I would like some good, honest answers, because he seems to be an esteemed counselor of the highest order with accolades protecting children and involved in the community service. So hopefully he will answer my questions, and maybe we can get to the bottom of why justice might be something of a process in this case. For what reason? I'm not sure, but maybe I am. But I hope I'm wrong. But guys, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Definitely believe I'm free-thinking, innovative, and totally open-minded. This is Tommy Nation Politics. Reach us at www.tommynationpolitics.com. And please combat all kinds of injustices. Because without justice, if there is no justice, guys, no justice, no peace. Tommy Nation Politics.